Hello, my name is Alyssa Utai, and today I'm presenting over community-based participatory research in the Condom Use Promotion Program. The objectives are: what is CBPR, principles of CBPR, Condom Use Promotion Program, and how well it adhered to the CBPR principles, which principles were well incorporated and which were not, define community, who belongs in a community, and who was a community in the Condom Use Promotion Program. This presentation is about the article titled Key Components in Planning, Implementing, and Monitoring a Behavior Change Communication Campaign that Increased Condom Use Among Male Clients of Sex Workers in Southern India. India has approximately 2.5 million people affected with HIV. Therefore, the study focused on increasing consistent condom use among heterosexual male commercial sex clients. The research was conducted in 100 high-priority towns in the provinces of these 4 locations. Starting off, what is CBPR? It is called Community-Based Participatory Research. It's used to generate health-enhancing programs for communities. It's ready to use as a process of action, reflection, and experiential learning. And it's called many things like community action research, participatory action research, or community-based action research. Some definitions of community is that it's a process that some definitions of the community-based participatory research is that it's a process that involves community members or recipients of interventions in all phases of the research process. It's also defined as collaborative approach to research that equitably involves all partners in the research process and recognizes the unique strengths that each brings. CBPR begins with a research topic of importance to the community and it has the aim of combining knowledge with action and achieving social change to improve health outcomes and eliminate health disparities. In that same article where I found this information, the program required all participants to establish and maintain a center-level community committee, establish and maintain partnerships with health departments, community groups and agencies, and academic units, and include these partners in center activities. And then to collaborate with partners on planning and implementing the core research. Sometimes the term is applied to community-based participatory efforts to implement health enhancement programs. That's why it's ready to use, but it doesn't really include research components. Now, moving forward, here are the CBPR principles. 1. Recognizes community as a unit of identity. 2. Builds on strengths and resources within the community. 3. Facilitates a collaborative, equitable partnership in all phases of the research. 4. Fosters co-learning and capacity building among all partners. 5. Integrates and achieves a balance between knowledge generation and intervention for the mutual benefit of all partners. 6. Focuses on the local relevance of public health problems and on ecological perspectives that attend to the multiple determinants of health. 7. Involves systems development using a cyclical and incremental process. 8. Disseminates results to all partners and involves them in a wider dissemination of results. And then 9. Involves a long-term process and commitment to sustainability. So this slide is a table showing the original principles and revised principles. It's the original principles in layman terms is pretty much what the revised principles is. And essentially this is used to help understand the principles and to help identify it throughout the Condom Use Promotion Program. I got this idea from one of the journal articles that I researched. So starting at the top of revised principles, identifies a community at the beginning of the research, build on strengths of each member of the research team. Each step of the research should be collaborative and fair. Establish an environment where each staff member learns, grows, and shares throughout their research. Work on balance between research and action. Know local and relevant health problems. Was there flexibility, feedback, and compromise? Share information throughout the program process, and monitor and evaluate the research project. Also, to commit to the issue at hand. So now I'd like to move forward onto which principles were well incorporated. As you can see, I feel like the condom use promotion program had a lot of the principles that were well incorporated. So starting at number 1, they addressed the target audience at the very beginning of the project, and their audience was a geographical target. For number 2, they also incorporated strengths of each team member. There were program planners, design teams, communication teams, and the researchers. The program planners research and monitor the program every 6 months. The communications team helped conduct the street plays, games, condom demonstrations, one-on-one discussion, and also group discussion. There were approximately 457 communication staff, which included supervisors and interpersonal communicators, and there were 50 street theater troops, which were contracted. Next, for number 3, that one was also well incorporated because they identified 3 steps to the research project, also at the beginning of the research. The 3 steps were planning, implementation, monitoring, and evaluation. For number 4, I feel like they did establish an environment where each staff member learned, grew, and also shared throughout the research because they were all collaborative. And they were collaborative to further learning, adjust the plan as needed, and monitor areas for improvement. For number 5, I feel like there was a balance between research and action. For example, the communications team worked with the design team to carry out the interpersonal communication means. And then also another example is that the street theater and small group activity correlated with increased consistent condom use. For number 6, there was the research did identify a health problem, which was HIV transmission. Now, jumping to number 8, I feel like they did share information throughout the program process because all the team members worked collaboratively. And then finally, for number 9, monitoring was a factor in the research because they monitor the activities biannually to measure reach and recall, and then also impact. Now for the opposite. So I would like to go over a few things that was not well incorporated. So like I stated before, I felt like the article showed that there's a lot of principles that were well incorporated, so here are some things that just weren't as good. So for example, for number 5, the work on balance between research and action. One example showed that the activity exposure, like the small group activities, like the games, street theater, and such, did not correlate with positive beliefs. And then for number 6, I wanted to add this one in because it showed another thing that was not well incorporated. For example, there was only one health problem addressed, and they didn't address other local health problems. And then finally, for number 8, for sharing information, I got this example from the lesson learned portion of the article, and it stated that project quality control identified problems in maintaining focus among interpersonal communications teams. Now, moving forward, I would like to define community. It's a group of people with diverse characteristics who are linked by social ties, share common perspectives, and engage in joint action. It's also a feeling of fellowship with others as a result of sharing common attitudes, interests, and goals. So, who belongs in a community? I feel like a community should be made up of diverse backgrounds, such as age, ethnicity, interests, and another example would be social and educational backgrounds. It should also be made up of different cultures. And a community can also be your profession and the people you work with. And then also a community can be a group of people who care about the same goals. And who was a community in this program? I felt like there was two types of communities in this program. They were the researchers, and then the second one were the participants. And then lastly, here are my references.